Today we're in sunny Los Angeles, California, sitting down with Quello Media and Phenomenon co-founder Dulari Amin, a small-town girl from rural India with dreams of making it big in America. And did she ever? Not only has her award-winning company won accounts with clients such as Pepsi, Disney, and Wilson, she is on a personal mission to be an example for a younger generation of women who may not believe they have what it takes to live out their dreams too. We absolutely love sitting down with Dulari and hearing what she's learned along the way through the challenges, the wins, and the opportunities for even bigger dreams. Hi, Dulari.
Hi, thanks for being here. I'm having such a fun day.
Oh, yay! Thank you so much for having us
Of
today.
course.
We're excited to talk to you, especially our audience of women entrepreneurs, and you can help us all and definitely share your wealth of knowledge with us. So first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company?
Absolutely. So I co-founded Phenomenon 10 years ago. We are a brand strategy, innovations, and marketing agency. We're a think tank. We're a hybrid between a management consultancy that does corporate strategy and an advertising agency that does marketing communications. So we marry really strong corporate strategy with really powerful, engaging, creative marketing communications. So we work with some of the largest brands in the world, and we work with a lot of high growth brands as well. We've probably worked with about 70 clients in financial services, CPG, retail, apparel. I love the work that I do, and I love the company that I've built. We're up to about 150 employees now, and it's just been a really rewarding journey. It's been full of challenges, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you are originally from India.
Yes.
Is that correct? What was it like growing up in India as a girl?
So I grew up in a teeny tiny town. Google just put us on the map recently. I grew up in a joint family, so everyone was very supportive. I grew up with 5 of my uncles and 3 of my aunts, and so I grew up in a household of 20 people, 20 or 30 people with my cousins. Everything that you hear in the media is true. I wasn't encouraged to play sports. I never played any sports, and I think that's one of my regrets, that it's so important. Like, business is a sport. It's a team sport. It's an individual sport. Sometimes you're there on the court by yourself. Sometimes you're with people. You need to rally for your team. You need to protect them. And I never learned any of those dynamics because I wasn't encouraged to play sport. There was no sports facilities in my school, even though I went to a decent school. And girls were segregated and boys were segregated. So boys went and did sports, whatever, football, volleyball, whatever basic amenities we had. And girls did, so it was called SUPW, which sounds so nuts, but it was called social, useful, productive work. And I'm appalled now looking back as to how we were pigeonholed and boxed in doing sewing and cooking lessons and home sciences. And that was my world until I was 17. And I love my aunts and my family, but if we were outside playing with the boys, like I wanted to play cricket and I wanted to play hide and seek, and my aunts would call me and say, hey, if you don't come in here and start rolling the chapatis, then no boy's going to marry you and your in-laws are going to kick you out. So you were conditioned to be more homebound. And then some of the other things people would say is, hey, why don't you have your eyeliner on? Or, why isn't your dress all perfect? There's going to be boys at this party. And everything was focused around, either being that perfect homemaker or finding the perfect family and the boy. And I said, I don't want this life for myself. I want to make something out of my life. I don't want to get married at 20. And that's kind of what the impetus was for me to strike out and say, I want to go to America and I want to do something with my life, which was a completely radical idea at the time and not looked upon positively. But so it's been an interesting journey because I think it also gave me the drive to disprove everybody. And it's like, success is the biggest revenge. And I hate being that negative because I'm generally a very positive person. But it gave me that single-minded focus where I said, everybody wants me to be the stereotype, this girl from a small town who wanted to make a career in advertising in New York City, and then wanted to start her own agency. And I wanted to do the best that I could because I wanted to be an example for all of the girls who were in my town, who were in India, who are in the Philippines, who are everywhere in the world, who everyone is saying no to them. No one is saying yes. I want their inner voice to come out and say yes, because they see stories like you and me and they say, oh, if she can do it, so can I. And I want them to go and show these stories about you and me to their parents on their screens and say, I want to be like this woman, and if she can do it, then why can't I? So it's really like such a driving force in my life of where I came from, how I was conditioned to be a people pleaser and to grow up and to conform. And I used to think of myself as a black sheep and this rule breaker, and that was a bad thing. And I'm like, yeah, being a rule breaker is a good thing. No one ever got anywhere by following the rules. So now my new mantra is, I'd rather ask for apology than for permission.
Oh. I love that.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's wonderful. And so obviously you are such an inspiration to so many young girls. What about women that you work with here?
I feel like I have this duty to be an example for not just my company, but to other businesses. And I am proud to say that I make an effort to create an environment where girls are and women can work and grow and be happy and feel supported and still have their lives. I've had girls who started with me and they've gone on to be married, and some of them are expecting their children. And it just feels so wonderful to see their growth, and I want to be a workplace where women can flourish. And I think it makes women want to try harder because they have that freedom. You know, I do better when I don't have too many roles, and I think that generally women are just very conscientious and they're very dutiful and they have a really strong sense of purpose, and that doesn't need to be managed. I don't want to be this person that creates rules in my company. I just want to be this person that supports everyone and lets them do their best work.
So what advice would you give young women, maybe in like their 20s, just coming out of school, that want to kind of start their own, maybe their personal brand, which will develop into more of a professional brand for themselves?
Sure. I think the first thing is have the confidence that you're good. Just believe that. Say it to yourself every day, because I think no matter if you're 20 or 30, women just tend to beat ourselves up more for everything. A little failure throws us off balance. And number two is, ask for help. Seek stuff out. Don't wait for it to come to you. And the third thing is have faith. Like everything like Rome wasn't built in a day. Your career is not going to get built in a day. And if you fall and stumble, it's fine. It's a very iterative process. And now I know that, someone once told me, like, you're going to have 3 careers as a woman. Once in your 20s, once in your 30s and 40s as a mother, and then once your children have grown up. And I believe that. I think that our careers are more cyclical and fluid. And it doesn't mean that you've got to, push very aggressively and win everything. It's like you win some, you lose some, and slowly over time you'll just finesse it, and then it'll come to you like, you play your, 500th match in tennis and you just get better. So you just have to keep at it and have the faith that you're going to get better. And I think the last thing I would want to tell a young girl is don't be afraid to try new things out. But always don't do anything that's not per your value set. I really believe that.
And with social media, it's really easy for us to put up kind of a front, right? Do you have any advice for, and I think growing up, these younger gals growing up in that world, it sometimes is difficult for them to maybe build what's behind the front.
Yes, really good question. I think I always encourage my employees to bring their whole self to work. Like, you're not a different person on social media than you are here in the office, than you're out hanging out with your friends. Just, think about that person that you want to be and that's a 365.
So what about women business owners, other lady bosses?
I like that.
Do you have any tips for them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
I mean, first of all, I just want to say it's such a great time. Like, I wake up some days and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's such a great time to be a woman. Like, I love it. And we're in a phase where we're just hitting this massive inflection point. I mean, the conversation's been going on for a long time, but you just see the chatter and the conversation about women and women entrepreneurs and women executives and women, like, young girls, and everybody is rooting for us. Like, the whole world, men and women, are rooting for us. Like, this is the time to go out and try stuff and do stuff, right? So if you're somebody who's thinking about starting the business, it's right now. It's a great time. But in terms of tips, I think first, I believe in just having that team around you. So identify, I think I was reading the other day that I think friends, good friends, how they're healthy for your heart, and people who are not isolated and have friendships live longer. I think it's the opposite is true too. That's what research is saying, that people who have friends who are not rooting for them and have that little tension, that underlying tension that girls tend to have, that's actually more detrimental to your health, because then you're comparing and contrasting and you're feeling like you're judged. I would say X all those people. Really, that's like the number one rule. Because when you start this journey of entrepreneurship, you're on a path and you're going to be in a tunnel for a very long time. And not everyone is going to understand or support your journey. So it's at that time you just, simplify your life. Pick the 5 or 3 people that are in it with you and love you and support you. And that could be your husband, your dad, your mom, your best friend, your teacher, your boss, whoever. And just surround yourself with those people. Like that, having that A team, like you're an athlete. Like you need your people, and you need, so I have that and I feel so good. And I don't think I could have done it without them. So that's, I think, number 1. Number 2 is think about the things that you're best at. And I know it's hard to delegate, and even making that first hire is really hard, but you're the owner, you're the entrepreneur, and you have the luxury to decide and the responsibility to decide what is best for my business. So if I'm not good at this particular thing, I'm going to hire or find a partner. So I think more than having similar people, I think it's good to have people who are complementary to you and can watch out for your blind spot. Number 3 is really about financing your business. So think about how you want to grow your business. And this could be a whole separate topic that we cover, but there's ways to finance it. You could take loans, you could give up equity, you could raise money and give up equity, you could get services done and give up equity. So there's a whole equity side of the business, and you might be left with 10, 20, 15%, but you could grow that big business much faster in a shorter amount of time. Or there's the whole way of bootstrapping your business, and you could do it slowly, but you'll be the majority owner, and then you can hire everyone and you're still the boss, and there's no other boss like a shareholder telling you what to do. And there's real magic in that too. So I think it's sometimes women just don't know that they have all these options, but there's a lot of material out there, and I would say before you get into major expenses, always consider how do you want to finance your business.
I also wanted to ask you about going back to sort of the team. You were talking about building your team. You obviously have an amazing company culture here. What are some examples of how you continue to cultivate that?
Yeah. The thing that one of the things that I love about my company is look, any company, you have to have fun. If you can't have fun, then your employees are not having fun, your clients are not having fun. The things that you're building for your clients, nothing is fun anymore, right? So yes, there's business is business, and we're here to make money, but we got to have fun along with it. We're here 10, 15 hours a day. This is 90% of our lives that we're spending here. And people need to feel like this is a safe home for them. the outside world, when we're dealing like salespeople, when your salespeople are out there, you're building business, you're dealing with customers, that's hard. When you come back to your group, like that should be your safe place. So that's kind of the mantra that I have. Like when people come back to Phenomenon, this is their ranch. This is where they get supported and they get loved. I mean, our clients might beat us up and customers might beat us up and business development is hard and we might lose a pitch and we might win something. But this is the place that they can come and feel like I have friends here, people love me, and I can do whatever I want. And that's kind of the culture here. So what do? We celebrate a lot of things. We have a lot of goofy parties. We celebrate engagements and weddings and going aways. And I think going aways are really important. Like it's not the first impression. I think it's the last impression. It's how you leave someone that really like that's how you remember them, right? So we believe in farewells. And we have a couple of things that we do. When somebody crosses their 3rd year, all of their health benefits and the entire benefit package is comped. And then when they finish their 5th year, they can come up with a bucket list goal, and we help them accomplish that with time and money to the extent that we can support that. And we have anniversary shout outs. We do special things all the time. This is my family, you know, I want to treat them well.
So tell me a little bit about maybe the journey here. Was there a particular challenge or obstacle that at the time seemed like you couldn't overcome, and maybe just to encourage women out there who might be going through that right now themselves? It's not always perfect.
It's never perfect. I think that every day there's some form of challenge, right? But I've spoken to so many of my friends who are women entrepreneurs as well, and every one of us, I think the first challenge is just, again, I'm going back to this thing of not believing in yourself and having the faith, because that's when fear sets in. You don't have the confidence, you don't have the faith, and then you're just struck with fear, and then everything seems daunting, and it's bigger in our heads than it actually is, and we let the worry just completely drown us, and then it incapacitates us to do anything with it, and it doesn't help us make any rational decisions. And I say this because I've had that, you know. So going back to a couple of the first challenges, the first time I had to lay someone off because they weren't the right fit for my company, even though they came with this amazing resume, I took that so hard on myself. The first time I lost a client, I took that really hard on myself. The first time that somebody didn't accept the job that I really wanted to get into the company, I took that to heart because I really wooed them for months, and then they rejected my offer, my best offer, and they went to work for a larger company, and that was hurtful. In terms of challenges, have had pretty much every challenge in the book. Running out of money. We were at a point one time that we really had almost no cash left, and it was like either selling our personal assets or having our employees took a pay cut for us. And I'm so proud of the people that stood with us and said we're going to take a pay cut for 90 days, and I'm proud that we were able to repay that, but that was a really difficult time. And there's been many more when we've had a couple of people take people with them to start another company, and I lost some of my good employees. We've had people say really mean things about us in the media, and that's felt really hurtful. So, I mean, everything like that is a challenge. I really believe this, you know, things will work out in the end, and if they're not working out, it's not the end. Yeah.
I absolutely love that it's so important for you to mentor and kind of pay it forward. Are there any particular examples that you could share with us? Because I know it's like your face lights up when you talk about this.
Yeah. So I have a few examples, and if you don't mind, I could just read some of the cards that some of my employees have written for me. So this is from someone who worked for me for 5 years. She was hired as an office assistant, and then I promoted her to office manager. She went into brand management. She handled our clients. And by the time I encouraged her to apply to business school, because she saw me go through Harvard Business School, and I said I would I would knock on every door at Columbia or Harvard. I was going to get her in. She had amazing grades, so it didn't matter. She's a very bright girl. But I wrote all of her recommendations. And so this is the letter that she wrote me. That you, Dulari, are the reason I'm the person that I am today and are my inspiration for who I hope to become tomorrow. You single-handedly have shifted the course of my entire life. You inspired me, challenged me, believed in me, and fought for me. You have been my mentor, my teacher, my family. When I first started at Pheno, I didn't know how I was capable, but you taught me that. You taught me what I wanted from my life, what kind of person I wanted to be, and you've been an example to me. No matter where I go, I will always look back at the defining moments of my life, and that, I think, will be the day that I met you, and I'm so thankful the time that I've had here. You told me once I was one of your people and that you would always fight for me. I want you to know that you're one of my people, and I will never forget that you were always there for me.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing.
So, this is my real reward, you know. I think that this means to me more than a lot of other things, like a handbag or buying shoes. Like, that's not rewarding anymore. So,
Thank you so much for having us here today. It was such a pleasure to meet you and talk to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
thank you. I'm so happy today. And I do want to say a few things. I think that doing this is really important, what you and Kalika are doing. I fully, wholeheartedly support this mission. It will take a lot more stories like this to really galvanize the next generation of women everywhere. So please tell those stories, tell them well. You have my support, and anything I can do, I will.